Joana Saahirah with another Juju live session, this time around about the art of improvisation inside the Baladi Awadi, the Baladi progression, and in general in your dance. How do we improvise? Why do we improvise? Does improvisation makes us a better dancer? Does it not? What do I prefer? Choreography, improvisation, what do I use? There are a lot of amazing questions I have gathered, and I'm gonna answer them in this live session. If you wanna join me live, please do so. Say hi if you're watching and let me know what you would like me to tell you about the art of improvisation in Egyptian dance, specifically inside the Baladi Awadi or the Baladi progression. I'm gonna be here with my coffee, answering you and saying hi. Don't feel shy. And before we start, let me tell you a bit about myself. For the ones who don't know me yet, I'm a world-renowned Oriental dancer, teacher, choreographer, and author, and also the creator of the pioneering online platforms Joana Saahirah's World and Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, delivering authentic Egyptian dance with soul, personal discovery, and empowerment. At the end of this video, I'm also gonna invite you to join my new online course, How to Dance a Baladi Awadi, a 2-month transformational journey you will not want to miss if you are interested in Egyptian dance, even remotely, okay? And now we launch the theme of improvisation, one of my favorite themes. When I decided to create these live sessions, improvisation came at the top of the themes that I knew I had to address. As I mentioned in previous live sessions available on my YouTube channel, Joana Saahirah's YouTube channel, and also in my Facebook profile, I asked my students who have been with me for a long time in my private coaching at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, students who know me from my work around the world, from festivals, and I told them, what do you want to know the most? And improvisation always showed up, you know? So I have a few questions here from my beautiful women. And then again, you are welcome to add your own right here with me, okay? So the first question I'm gonna answer is, if I improvise in my performances, in my shows. I've been asked this so many times. Now, on my YouTube channel, you have a very infamous part of all the performances and full shows that I've done in my career. I have done thousands, perhaps even more, of shows in my life. Most of my shows, daily shows in Cairo, Egypt, where I was working and living for 8 years, were not recorded. Sadly, I wish I had someone recording them, but only a very infamous part was recorded because I was so in the moment and I was really not so worried about recording it. I was worried about delivering my best with my orchestra, that's it. But the ones that you can see, the ones that are recorded and available at my YouTube channel, may those be my shows in Cairo or any of my performances around the world in different countries, are 100% improvised. And I know a lot of dancers will feel surprised. I have received so much love and so much questions around this. Joana, what do you do? Do you choreograph for yourself? Do you improvise when you're performing? How did you do it with your musicians in Cairo? How do you do it with musicians in other countries where you travel? How do you do it with recorded music? And I'm gonna tell you all about it, okay? So definitely, as I already mentioned, all my performances are 100% improvised, with the exception of the performances when I had dancers with me. So sometimes in Cairo, I would have what we call folkloric tableaus or other dance tableaus, like dance theatrical sets that I would need to choreograph because I was not alone. So this was a very practical decision. It was not because I prefer to choreograph when I'm performing. It's because I had other dancers, Egyptian dancers, male dancers with me, and it would look very chaotic if nobody knew what they were doing. So in those cases, yes, I would choreograph them. I choreographed them, and myself, of course, in Saidi tableaus, in Nubian tableaus, in Baladi tableaus, in many situations. But when I am by myself, may that be with live music or recorded, and this is my choice. It is not the choice of every professional dancer, I can assure you. I know a lot of talented dancers, very good dancers, who tell me, you are nuts. How do you take that risk? How do you go on stage not knowing what you're gonna do? But that's me. I have this kamikaze thing, and I like to feel in the moment. Now, it doesn't mean I don't prepare the performances. That's something different. I very often choreograph the performance, and then in the moment of the performance, I said, not going to use it. I'm going to improvise anyway. But the work, the assimilation of the music, the ideas, the exploration of what I was going to do was already done. So saying that I improvise my performances does not mean that I don't prepare my performances, okay? So you can prepare your improvisations. You can practice your technique, you can choreograph, you can work on the music, you can shoe on the music. This is the expression I like to use, shoeing on the music. And then in the moment of truth, when you are on stage, you can either stay put and follow the choreography you may have created, or you may be in the moment, feel the music, feel the moment, feel your audience, feel yourself, and see what happens. And of course, this works well if you are an experienced dancer with a lot of technique and skills and a lot of self-confidence as well. Otherwise, it may be quite scary, okay? So this is a private choice. It is something that works for me. It doesn't necessarily work for everyone, okay? So I hope I answered that question. Yes, I improvise 100% of all my performances on stage, okay? So if you go into my YouTube channel, every single performance you will see from my shows in Cairo or any other show, you're gonna see me creating that dance on the spot. I had no idea what I was gonna do. And yes, it's a little bit crazy, but it's what works for me. Hi, Sandra. Hey. Sandra is asking, what's, in my opinion, the secret to the perfect improvisation? Whoa, wow, that's a question. Okay, that's a super question, Sandra. Okay, I'm gonna answer that in 1 second. So before I do, let me answer here another introduction question that I really loved. What do I prefer? Choreography or improvisation? Oh, I love this question. Why? Because I love both. For different reasons. And I think both work for each other. They complement each other. They improve each other. So for many years, I only improvised. I did not choreograph because I was mostly performing. And I was very confident in my improvisational skills. I had a very strong technique. I had very good ear. So I knew I could pull it off. But then I started working and studying with Mahmoud Reda. As many of you know, while I was in Cairo, while I was in Egypt, I was not only starting my career as an Oriental dancer, as a solo Oriental dancer, I was privileged to study and to work with the master of all masters, Mahmoud Reda, the father of Egyptian folklore, the creator of the iconic Reda troupe. And one of the first things he told me was, you gotta start choreographing even if you don't use it. And I was very annoyed because I was already performing every night. There was no way I could choreograph different shows, 1 hour shows every single night. We would perform several times per night. And the idea of choreographing for my show in those conditions was absolutely nonsense. It made no sense. It was humanly impossible to choreograph 5-6 pieces per night, every night, you know? So I told him, Mahmoud, but I'm not gonna use choreography right now because you know how it works here in Cairo. I'm working every night. Musicians don't work well with choreography either because they change things and they like to improvise on the spot. And this is just not the right thing for me right now. He told me, okay, do it for me for practice. Just for you, you don't need to use it. And I did. And he told me I would become a better improviser as a result of working on choreography, which was something I found interesting And I even had the arrogance of doubting it. I said, I think you're telling me that because you want me to choreograph, but I don't quite see it. And then with time, I understood. The moment I started working on my own choreographies without using them, I would just choreograph for Mahmoud, for him to watch, and for myself, just for practice. I was not teaching them, I was not performing them, I was not recording them. The moment I started choreographing, my improvisational skills expanded. So I love both. I adore choreography as it stands, is one of my passions. It became a passion of mine. In my courses at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School or in my private online coaching programs, I use both improvisation and choreographies. When I perform, I still improvise. Sorry, guys. The choreography lovers, I'm so sorry, but it's true. I don't choreograph for a performance, not for myself. I choreograph for other dancers, for their performances, but not for mine. Maybe I will change my mind, you never know. But I love both. I think choreography and improvisation work perfectly together, side by side. Now, before I read the questions I have here, I'm gonna answer Sandra. I'm gonna try. Sandra is asking, what is the secret to the perfect improvisation? And of course, me being me, I'm gonna ask, what does it mean, a perfect improvisation? Sandra, can you tell me, what is your concept of a perfect improvisation? What is that? Right? Because in order to ask me about the secret to a perfect improvisation, you have to tell me what is a perfect improvisation in your perspective, of course. When you see a dancer improvising and you say, wow, that's perfect. What does that mean? Why are you saying that? Okay, so the first thing you gotta understand, what is a great improvisation or perfect? I'm just using a word Sandra is using, but what does it make? What characterizes a great improvisation? What is it? You know, maybe for me it means something, maybe for you it means something else, you know? So it is important to consider that. Hi, Jill. Oh, Jill is sharing another very nice question. Oh, guys, I see it coming. Okay, I'm gonna tackle Sandra's question first and then I go to you, Jill. All right, so for me, a great improvisation, I will not say perfect because perfect is a dangerous word, okay, and highly relative, but a great improvisation. What is a great improvisation? Great dance improvisation. Let's consider the Baladi Awadi, okay, because these live sessions are around the Baladi Awadi. So as you know, the Baladi Awadi or Baladi progression is a format that is built upon a structure, but is fully improvised. Actually, in reality, the Baladi Awadi does not exist choreographed. We choreograph it to teach the technique of that style. At least that's what I do. But if we didn't need to teach technique, movements, postures, poses, gestures, we wouldn't choreograph it at all because that's not the nature of the Awadi. The Awadi is improvised. In its natural habitat, it's improvised. What makes a great improvisation? Okay, I'm gonna tell it as I see it, okay? So, first of all, a great improvisation has deep and passionate connection with the music. So, in order to create a great improvisation, you need to be a great listener. This is the first thing. It is true for choreography too, all right? But if you're improvising, I believe it's even more important because the music and the connection to the music will tell you what to do next. And there is not much time to think because you didn't plan it, you didn't prepare it, right? You don't know what you're gonna do next. So the more connected to the music you are, the more on the spot, the more creative, the more dynamic you will become. So first, become a great listener. A great improvisation is the one that has great connection to the music, okay? Second thing, great improvisation is about identity. Joanna, what do you mean? Isn't choreography about identity? Yes, yes. Choreography should be about identity too. It should be an expression of who you are, an expression of your sensibility, an expression of your taste and knowledge and skills and limitations as well. But in the case of improvisation, I think that expressing your identity is even more important because everything is so raw, everything is on the spot. So the more you dance from within, the more you are yourself, the more you bring your personality, your energy to the table, the better your improvisation will be. So the second thing I would say a great improvisation is full of character, full of the character of the dancer who's doing it. So first of all, great listening skills, great connection to the music, a lot of character. The dancer is not mimicking anyone. She's not trying to follow the style of someone. She or he is really dancing from within, okay? And then I would also say that a great improvisation is always dynamic. What do I mean by this? I mean that very often, and this is one of the problems of improvisation, dancers start to repeat themselves when they improvise. They repeat the same movement, they get boring and they get bored. And then they get scared because they feel they're not doing anything new. They're going back to the movements that they know, they're going back to the movements that they've always been doing, and they get stuck in a kind of uniformity and repetition that doesn't really make it very interesting. So the ability to create contrast, dynamics, different moments, different moods, different speeds, the ability to read different styles and give different flavors and colors to the dance, I believe that's essential for a great improvisation. If you don't have enough technique, or if you don't have enough experience, if you don't have enough insight into the style you're dancing, if you don't have enough self-confidence also, because it takes a lot of self-confidence to connect to the music, be your full self, bring your character, and then create these different dynamics, I believe your improvisation will be weak. Maybe it will feel amazing. And very often what happens is that you feel great when you're improvising. Woo, baby, I'm nailing it, right? Ooh, but then you see the video and you go, what the hell was I thinking? How did that feel so good and it looks so boring? I'm repeating myself, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, but it felt so good, right? So in terms of professional environments, I think you have to watch out for this, that very often you're feeling great, but what comes out is not so great, okay? And you don't have the notion because you're so involved with the moment, as you should be, okay? But you don't have the distance and the awareness to see you from outside and to see that even if it feels good, it doesn't necessarily look good to the audience. If you're a professional dancer, of course. If you're not, who cares? I mean, just enjoy yourself, you know? So I think I just gave you a few of the features of a great improvisation, Sandra. Last but not least, I would add soul, okay? Soulfulness, tarab. In my first published book, The Secrets of Egypt, Dance, Life and Beyond, I speak about 3 gates of Egyptian dance. The first gate is the ear. So this is the first door a dancer has to open, is the ears. Even before you move, you have to know how to listen. Dun, 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 dee, da, dee, da, whatever. La li da dee da dee da da dee da dee la la dee da la 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 bam bam. Whatever. First you listen. Second gate, the heart. You connect emotionally with the music, with what you are listening. It's like a filter. The heart is a filter. Very important in Egyptian dance. Very important in Egyptian culture. Egypt is an emotional country. Egypt is a heart chakra country. It's heart. It's emotion. It's passion. It's warmth. If you are not in that frequency, if you don't listen and then allow the music to come through your heart, and if you don't connect to this chakra here, you're missing the point, baby. You're missing the point. Don't get me wrong. Don't get upset with me. I'm just telling you what it is. And then the third gate is the physical movement. If there is physical movement, you don't have to necessarily move all the time, okay? So First gate here, second gate the heart, third gate physical movement. Whatever you're doing, okay? Now, in all that process, what do we want? In improvisation and also in choreography, what do we want? We want the soul of the dancer. A great improvisation is soulful. Yani it has tarab. Tarab. Yani tarab. What is tarab? Transcendence. I allow myself to be transported and to be reconnected with my soul through the music. If there is no soulfulness, there is no Egyptian dance, guys. Okay? There is no Egyptian dance without soul. Ruh, el-ruh, yani the spirit. It is very physical and it is very soulful at the same time. This applies for improvisation, it applies to choreography, it applies to the Baladi Awadi and to everything you will do inside Egyptian dance. I hope I answered your question, Sandra. Let me see. Hi, Loveline. Hi. Let me see. Gilles is saying, I'm wondering, how do you tap into the abstract, vulnerable state of mind needed to improvise while not losing access to the listening, planning, thinking part of your brain? Okay, I think I understand what you mean, Jill. So when we start studying a dance style, any dance style, okay, flamenco, Egyptian dance, jazz, when you're learning new skills, new movements, new rhythms, new structures, there is a time, there is a period when I think dancers will think much more than they feel. Why? Because you're still digesting information. You're still memorizing. How do I do this movement? How do I do that movement? What does this mean? What does that mean? Especially if you're studying dances which are not from your original culture. So we have cultural codes also to digest. It takes time. But then there comes a time when you have to divide your focus between the rational side of your brain, which is telling you what you need to do, movements, musicality, rhythms, melody, all the information you have received from a teacher, I suppose, with letting go, surrendering, listening, feeling. Let's call it the rational and the irrational side. In improvisation, we activate the irrational, the instinctive, the intuitive. Now, how do you stop thinking and controlling and worrying? My opinion is most of the times you don't. If you're not experienced, you will still think, you will still be afraid, and you will still activate the rational side of your brain. But the more experienced you are, the more you have turned the new movements into second nature, and that is achieved through practice, of course, and repetition. The more you let go and surrender, and the less you need to activate the rational mind, and the more you can activate the intuition and the instinct. So I think it is a gradual process, and there comes a time with experience and practice and willingness when you find a balance between the rational and the instinctive. The logic that tells you, you did this, don't do it again, do something different, or now you're forward, now you're gonna go backward, with the emotional, with the intuition, with the spirit. There comes a time when you can actually be in balance and have the rational and the irrational working together. But it takes time, it takes patience, a lot of work, and it also takes willingness. So there is a side of deactivating the rational, or not allowing it to control your dance, especially if you're improvising, that has to do with not being afraid to screw up. Let me repeat that. You cannot be afraid to screw up. You cannot be afraid of making mistakes. You cannot be afraid of not knowing how things are gonna look like or how you're gonna look like. I have trained dancers, especially in my private coaching, preparing dancers for performances, right? And one of the main concerns and one of the main chains that block them is the fear of how am I gonna look if I lose control, if I'm not worried about how my body is showing, how my hair is showing, how my makeup is showing. And I always tell them, look, In a good performance, if you reach the end of the performance and your hair is not all over the place and your makeup is not destroyed, you didn't do it right. There was something missing there because you were too careful. You were too worried about being the cute girl, the beautiful woman, and you did not let go. You did not surrender. You did not enter the state of tarab, which is the opposite of control. But all of this comes with time. It comes with time, and it comes with the willingness to lose control. Okay? And of course, I just mentioned about the Baladi Awadi, which is traditionally improvised. Sometimes the result is great. Sometimes the result is average. Sometimes the result is not so interesting because you were in a bad day or the musicians were in a bad day and God knows. But you did it anyway. And it's fine. It's not that important. We are not the center of the world. So somehow you have to enjoy the thing, enjoy the process, and allow the rational and the irrational to come together in their own time. Hopefully in balance. Okay? Hi, lovely. Yes, it is a very interesting subject. Very interesting. Sandra says, the perfect improvisation for me is a perfect performance on stage. She says she agrees 100%, connection with the music, expression of our own identity, putting a lot of who we are into our performance, and the dynamics and the ability to create the easiness on stage. Yeah? And then she mentions the connection with the audience, in which... Oh, she's complimenting me here. Thank you, Sandra. She's telling me I'm good. I'm great at doing the connection with the audience. Yeah, because if you improvise, may that be in a Baladi Awadi or any other style, if you improvise on stage, if we're talking about the stage, then you have the element of the audience. You don't only have the music and yourself, you have the audience. And here's a mistake a lot of dancers do. They think that the audience is not part of the performance. It is. It should be. If you want them to feel what you're feeling, if you want them to be magnetically attracted to you, not for 1 minute, for an entire hour, if you need, then you have to make them a part of the performance. So, of course, if you are improvising on stage or if you are presenting a choreography, this applies to both situations. You have to create a bridge with your audience. Otherwise, you are lost. They will be with you for a while and then they're gone. They're going to check their mobile, they're going to talk. That's not what you want when you are a performer. You want your audience with you at all times. You want to have them in your hand and in your heart. So creating that connection and making them a part of the dance, of the performance, is as important as everything else we mentioned. Okay? Sandra says she misses my live shows, my energy and my dance. Oh, Sandra. Beijinho, amor. Beijinho. Okay, guys, keep them coming. Keep your questions coming in the comments. And of course, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Like this direct. You can share it if you like on your wall so that other dancers can see it. Hi, Diana. Better late than never. Absolutely, honey. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna continue answering the questions I had received from other dancers, and I'm gonna keep an eye right here. By the way, guys, the ones who are here with me, tell me what is your biggest difficulty when you're improvising. What is your biggest difficulty in your improvisational dances or performances or pieces? What is it that you find the most difficult improvising? Okay? Now, a question I really love is how improvisation can make me a better dancer. First of all, can it? Do you become a better dancer because you improvise a lot? It's a question. I believe you do become a better dancer if you improvise consistently. But not only improvisation. If you want to improve your dance, improvising is not enough. You have to study technique of the dance that you are improvising on. You have to study choreography. You have to work on your musicality. If we're talking about the Baladi Awadi or any other style within Egyptian dance, you gotta learn the culture. You know how it goes. You heard me speaking about this. I am not only in love with Egyptian dance, I've always been in love with Egyptian culture, as you know. And this is not only because I started my career in Egypt or I lived most of my adult life in Egypt, it's because I really love it. I see the value in it. Even outside of the dance field. I'm not only talking about the dance, okay? Egypt it's really like Egyptians say, it's the Dunya. Dunya, the mother of life, the mother of the world, the center of the world. In my soul, it is. It has always been. So when you study, you don't only improvise if you want to get better. Improvisation helps, but that's not the only thing you have to develop. There are many other things, very, very fascinating stuff that you have to develop, okay? Now, it does make you a better dancer in so many ways, starting with the fact that it allows you to explore your creativity. I'm not even go into any more reasons, and there are many reasons why improvising makes you a better dancer, but this is definitely one of them. Why do we improvise? What happens in the process of improvisation? You're using your creativity, right? You're using the material, the movements you have been taught, but you're also searching for creative solutions. What do I do here? Where do I go there? Even if you don't do it rationally, you're making creative decisions all the time. So, of course, it develops your creativity, it develops your identity, it develops your vocabulary. It allows you to see how much vocabulary you have digested, you have memorized. It's called muscle memory, right? How much movements or how much vocabulary have your muscles and bones memorized? And what movements are not yet second nature to you? This is something that you can see when you improvise, right? So what I suggest to my students very often is record yourself improvising and watch it as if you didn't know this person, and analyze it, learn from it. What am I seeing here? Which movements do I repeat a lot? Those are usually the ones you have digested, you have memorized, okay? Your muscle memory has retained. Which movements do I know that I usually don't use in my choreographies and in my improvisations? Which movements do I usually forget to use? Let's put it this way. Those are usually the ones your muscle memory has not retained. So those are the ones you need to practice more. You see where I'm going with this? So yes, improvisation makes you a better dancer, and I could stay here all day telling you why. Okay, but we have many questions, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Noel Gonzalez, hi sweetie. Noel asks me, and let me take the questions I've already answered aside. She asks me, how do you connect with the audience? Okay, so this is not particularly related with improvisation because you can connect with the audience using a choreography. This is particularly connecting with performing, right? And who knows, I may do a live session about performing exclusively. I've been asked to do that, and because, it's too many things on my hands and I cannot cover everything, but it's in my mind, okay? Now, just for you, Noel, just for you, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about connection with the audience. First of all, you gotta understand they're part of your dance. I've already mentioned that. So instead of going into the stage and presuming you're gonna show them something and leave, oh, I'm gonna drop them this choreography, or I'm gonna drop them a fierce improvisation. Ooh, they're gonna be so impressed. No, don't think like that. Go into the stage as if you were about to have an intimate conversation with a dear friend or a group of friends. Who are those friends? Your audience. You say, Joana, but I don't even know the people who are watching me. Yeah, but act as if you did. At some level, we all know each other, guys. Unless you are performing in Mars to a bunch of aliens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. By now, everything is possible, right? But if we are living on planet Earth And if we are performing for other human beings, we're not so different. So go on stage and start performing with the sense that you are going to talk without talking with your friends, with people who are there to connect with you. They're not there to see how amazing you are. Nobody gives a damn. They're there to feel something. They are there so that you can show them something that moves them. They're there to feel moved in some way. They are not there to applaud you or to approve of you or to tell you you're fabulous and see your belly tricks. That is a very outdated and very inefficient way of considering an audience, okay? So the audience is like a bunch of friends that you're gonna communicate with. You're gonna go on stage and you're gonna think, you're gonna feel, guys, I'm here for you. Let me tell you a story. I am going to tell you a little bit about my heart, my life, my soul. And I'm gonna take you on a ride with me so that we can remember together what it feels to be human. This is it. So somehow you are a dancer. You are also Hermes. Hermes. What is Hermes? Mercury. Mercury, the messenger of the gods. Mercury was the god that brought messages from the sky to the earth, from the earth to the sky. This is the Oriental Dancer. We are daughters of Mercury. We bring messages from the sky to the earth. We are the vehicle of communication between the spirit and the heart and our audience. We are messengers. So we're not there to impress anyone. We're not there to show them our tricks. Nobody gives a damn. Believe me. Especially these days. People are tired and they have seen everything on this earth, okay? So they're not there to see you do tricks or to see you impressing them. They're there to connect with you. But that is your responsibility. You're the active agent. You're the one who's going on stage. They're there passively receiving, and if you can, you make them an active part of your dance. But they're not the ones who make the performance. You're the one responsible for making the performance. So bring them into the performance, okay? And of course, be vulnerable, guys. Be vulnerable. Don't play with masks. Don't play the diva. The diva. No, nobody wants to see that. Believe me, nobody wants to see that. That creates distance. It creates a lack of credibility. People want to see people. Your audience, then again, if they're not aliens, if they're humans, they want to feel that a human being is communicating, is linking, is connecting with them. They don't want to see a cute, beautiful, sparkling Swarovski doll. Okay, so be vulnerable and be real and be honest. Tell them honestly how you feel through your dance. Be absolutely honest. Open your heart. Be transparent. There is nothing more powerful than vulnerability, than truth. You come to your audience to say, guys, this is who I am. And I'm here with my heart on my hands. Do you want to carry it with me? I'll carry your heart too. There is nothing more powerful than this. You can kill yourself with fancy improvisations or choreographies and tricks and fancy dresses. Nothing will be as powerful as connection, human connection, vulnerability, and truth. Okay? Don't get me started, because performance is one of my things. I love performing, and I've done it so many times in my life. I mean, I've done it millions of times, probably millions. So it's my thing. I love it. But for now, I'm gonna leave you with this. I think it is more than enough. Let me see. Sandra is saying maybe the ability to create this easiness, this comfort in improvisation is one of my biggest difficulties in improvising. Yeah. You know, Sandra, there are many factors. Actually, this is one of the questions I have here from students. Um, this is a question that is, why am I not comfortable, or why am I not self-confident improvising, right? And then the answer has many answers. And the solution to that has many sides, right? So I believe that in order for you to feel comfortable improvising, may that be in a Baladi Awadi or any other style, you have to do different things simultaneously. First of all, knowledge is power. So the more you know about the style you're improvising, the safer you will feel, the more confident you will feel. That includes taking good courses with professional teachers. That includes practicing what you're learning. That includes drilling your own technique. That includes improvising by yourself before you go on a stage, before you go public. Okay? So that it's not the first time you do it. You've already done it a few times. Okay? It's not new. And that also includes developing personal skills like resourcefulness, creativity, identity, self-confidence, sensuality, and many other things. And these personal skills are not necessarily found in the dance technique or in the choreography. They're really personal skills that I believe should be developed side by side with the dance. That's what I do in my classes, in my school. At Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School. That's what I do in my private coaching. That's what I do everywhere for many years now. Okay? Because I don't think you can develop only the dance part. Okay? We have to develop the person in the dancer as much as we develop the dancer. By the way, guys, if you want to develop all this and really grow, consider joining my new online course, How to Dance a Baladi Awadi. We're starting this July. It's going to be 2 months of a journey, dance and life journey that you will never forget. I am going to share the link in the comments if you're going to watch this on my Facebook, and in the description box below this video if you watch it on YouTube. So check the link about my online course, my new online course, How to Dance a Baladi Awadi, available at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, because we are developing improvisational choreography, musicality, and all of the qualities you need to be a great improviser. A great improviser. And not only in the Baladi Awadi, in every dance style, and in life also. Because we also need to improvise in our life. Loveline says, do you make eye contact with your audience? Okay, so this is a tricky question. Because, look, it really depends on the kind of stage. I have performed in all kinds of stages. Big theaters, small theaters, venues where my audience was just a few meters in front of me, around me. I mean, all sorts of settings, all right? Now, the goal is not to make eye contact. That's a little creepy if you think about it, right? I mean, that's not the goal. But also, you should not be afraid to look people in the eye. So for me, eye contact is a very organic, spontaneous thing, and it's usually not directed at a specific person. You know, if you have an audience that you can actually see, you can see the people in front of you, you will eventually, you know, lock eyes with someone and then another person and then another, because you're not dancing for a specific person. You're dancing for everyone in that place, and for yourself too, and for your musicians if you're working with musicians. They are your first audience, by the way. So I don't make eye contact like a goal. It's not my goal. It just comes naturally, you know, like in a conversation. If you're working, if you're talking with a group of people, again, use this metaphor of seeing your audience like a group of friends, right? Naturally, you speak with one person, you look at them, and then you speak with the other, you look at them, and your eyes, they float from one place to the other. So when you perform, it's pretty much like that. You don't necessarily lock eyes with a specific person. At least I don't. I don't see the point. But I will look people in the face here and there and there, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just close my eyes, or I am with myself, or if I work with musicians, I am with the musicians, and it's alive. And I don't think there's a rule for that. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi. You are welcome, Loveline. You are welcome. You're welcome. Okay, guys, I'm reading your comments. I'm going to go back to another question here because I want to balance things up. And then I come back to you. Yes, keep your questions coming, please. So, improvisation inside the Baladi Awadi. This is a question. What is the most important skill I have to develop to improvise in a Baladi Awadi? And this is such a hard question. Oh God, why is it hard? Because there is not only one skill you have to develop. You have to develop many skills. So it's hard to tell you what is the most important skill to improvise inside a Baladi Awadi. I will choose one. It doesn't mean it's the most important, but it's definitely a very important one. And it's one that most dancers do not develop. I can tell you that because not only have I been teaching for a long time, I have contact with dancers from all over the world. I observe videos and homework assignments and performances all the time, practically every day. So I notice stuff. I'm a good observer, okay? And this is something that most dancers don't do. They don't do, and it's a very important skill to improvise inside of a Baladi Awadi specifically. And that is the ability to be in the now. What does she mean by this? Joana, what do you mean by that? You're crazy. Okay. What do I mean by this? We are usually in the past or in the future. How does that look like when you're doing a Baladi Awadi? In the past, did I do okay? Did I screw up? Are they liking me? Did they like so far what I've done? If you have an audience, and somehow, even if you're just in a dance class, you always have an audience. Your teacher is the audience, your colleagues are the audience. So we always feel like we have some sort of audience, except when you're dancing by yourself closed in a room, right? So we're either in the past or we are in the future. What will I do next? Where will we go next? If you're working with musicians, will they make a mistake? Will they repeat themselves? Will this work out fine? Will the audience like me? Am I doing okay? Am I going to be able to pull this off? So we're constantly taking ourselves from the present moment. We are not trained to do that. And guys, mind you, this is not a question of being a better dancer or a worse dancer. Then again, this is a personal skill. It's a personal development stuff or issue that most of us don't even hear about when you study Egyptian dance, right? If you were like me, I was taught by following the teachers, and I worked with the best. I learned from the best Egyptian teachers, okay? I'm talking about the legends, the real legends. So Herzaki, Nagwa Fouad, Aza Sharif, Zizi Mustafa, Mona Said, Mahmoud Reda, the big ones. But nobody had ever told me, Joana, you have to be present. You have to learn how to breathe, stay in your body, stay in the present moment, and stop projecting your mind into the past and into the future. For me, this is the most important thing when you improvise, especially inside of a Baladi Awadi. There are many other things, guys, I already told you. Let's not go into that because we would not leave the place today. I would be here until midnight, okay? There are a lot of beautiful, interesting skills you have to develop specifically for an improvisation inside a Baladi progression. But the ability to be in the now is one of them. So in that case, meditation helps a lot. The practice of meditation. There are different kinds of meditation. If you want to know more about that, feel welcome to ask me if you're interested. Meditation helps. Breathing helps. So whenever you take a deep conscious breath while you're dancing, even if just for a few seconds, you stay in the now. You go back to the now. There are some tricks to put yourself in the now, okay? Some practices, some routines that help you, but I would say this is the number one, very important and very rare. How can I be more self-confident when I improvise? So this is a little bit in the sequence of what Sandra was asking me, the question of self-confidence, right? And I do think that self-confidence comes from different places. Self-confidence comes from being prepared. So if I know I'm doing a dance improvisation and I have prepared myself, especially if I'm doing it on stage, I have to prepare myself, I should prepare myself. There is a part of me which is calm, self-assured, because I know I did my homework. If I'm a lazy ass and I just don't care, and I over trust my talent and my inspiration and say, me preparing? No, I'm a naturally talented dancer, girl, so I don't prepare. The more talented you are, the more you have to work, by the way. So it doesn't make any sense, okay? So preparing yourself, practicing, taking good classes, working on good technique, correct technique, working on music, having the practice of working with different pieces of music, different styles, so that your ear gets used to reading different rhythms, different melodies, different moods, different feelings, you know, all of that helps. So preparation helps. Also, self-confidence in yourself. And this is also a personal thing. It has nothing to do with the dance, okay? So self-confidence in yourself, understanding that you are enough, believing that you are enough, more than understanding, you believe that you're enough, that you are interesting, believing that you are unique, that you have a unique fingerprint that is going to come out when you improvise. And that's enough. That's brilliant. It's wonderful because nobody else is you. So there is this notion, this awareness of self-worth, the awareness of your own uniqueness that brings you confidence, okay? I would say that these two things are the most important to give you self-confidence when you're improvising. Preparation and knowing your worth, knowing that you're enough, owning your uniqueness, okay? Diana says, as an AMCAP dancer, what is an AMCAP dancer, Diana? Let me know. I have always improvised, but that is what was lacking during COVID lockdown. Performing on Zoom was extremely difficult, hard to connect with the audience, with an audience you cannot see. So I found I had to push myself to smile, etc., because I could not see anyone to smile at. A real challenge. Can't wait to get back to live performing. Absolutely. You know, guys, if we talk about performing online, that's another entirely different chapter, right? Because you don't have people in front of you physically. So that's an entire new world to explore. And there are other ways of connection through a screen, through a computer, that we can explore. I will tell you something about that. Very interesting. When I started teaching online, when nobody was doing it, I was one of the first, and I started teaching privately, way before I thought about launching my school. I was already teaching online privately, private coaching. And I felt, oh my God, am I gonna pull this off? I mean, how am I going to connect with my student if I don't see them in front of me? If we have a screen and thousands of miles of kilometers between us, this is gonna sound and feel very fake, very distant, not human. And here's what I discovered. Even through a screen, even miles away, I can be in Egypt and you can be in USA, or I can be in Portugal and you can be in China. The energy can be felt. Joana, what do you mean? How do you mean that? I swear by God. I mean, you're there, wherever you are, and you're coming from different places in the world. I'm here. If I do this, can you feel it? Can you feel me when I communicate with you? Of course you can, because this is energy. And energy does not require physical presence. Now, is it the same as performing in a live venue with physical audience? No, it's not, baby. It's not. But I discovered from my own experience that there is a lot more that goes on through a screen energetically than what we might think. Okay? So that's an entire new world to explore, and I love it. I'm totally into it. Sandra says, fabulous, the perspective of the audience representing a group of friends. Yes, of course. Sandra, our audience is there to watch us. What else do you need to know? People are taking time from their lives to watch you. And especially if they're coming for you, right? So I'll tell you something. All the years I was performing in Egypt, I had regular audience, right? So in Egypt, as you may know, there are venues. If you are under contract with a proper orchestra and you are a dancer of the house, you are scheduled, if not every day, practically every day. So you have the same audience coming very frequently. I had the same families coming to see me every week. And I always wondered, oh my God, they're paying exclusively to see me every week. They're taking time off their lives, off their works, off their homes, to spend the evening with me and my musicians. This is something big. Of course, they're my Habaib, Yani, Habaib, my beloved. Of course, they are my friends in a way. Of course, I would not be here if it wasn't for my audience. I would not be able to get scheduled every night to grow as a dancer if it wasn't for my audience. I love the audience. I love the audience that is there for me. I really appreciate that. So audience is never someone you have to impress, or it's not an enemy you have to conquer. Imagine they are your friends. Imagine they are fellow human beings giving you the gift of their attention and time. And then the connection is so much easier, okay? About the planet Mercury, which is the ruler of Gemini. Of course, Gemini girl in the house. I know. I have the Sun and Venus in Gemini. So I'm a double Gemini. I have two of the most important planets in Gemini, my Sun and my Venus, in very strong positions in Gemini. So yeah, of course, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini and Virgo as well, but in a different way. So Mercury was the messenger of the gods. He was the one who brought messages from one place to the other. That's why the Greeks represented him with little wings on his feet, because he was always flying. It's the mind, fast mind, connections. This is the mercurial mind. This is the Gemini mind. This is why I'm crazy, because my mind is all over the place, making connections and languages and cultures, and everything is one and everything is connected. This is a very mercurial thing to do. Okay? And Oriental dancers are daughters of Hermes. Hermes or Mercury is the same god, okay? It's just different names for the same god. Hi, Lailin. Lailin says, I tend to do what I have muscle memory, but I'm more able to be free as I'm not thinking what next feels more natural to me. Okay, I think I understand what you mean. So guys, look, when you're improvising, the movements you're gonna do are always the ones that your muscle memory have retained. This is why very often dancers repeat themselves while they're improvising. Why? Because they're not thinking, they're not making the effort to bring new vocabulary their muscles and bones have not memorized yet. You understand? And this is why so many dancers run away from improvisation. They know they're gonna repeat themselves, but they don't know why they repeat themselves. Okay, so you repeat yourself mostly because you have not enough variety of movements yet in your muscle memory. So you're always gonna come out with the movements that are already in your system, and you're not gonna use the ones you have not memorized yet. And I don't mean memorize here. I mean memorize in your muscles, muscle memory. How do you correct this? You work on your technique. You bring more vocabulary into your muscle memory. This is one of the ways you combat this monotony, the repetition, okay? And of course, guys, look, there is always a battle between rational thinking and feeling. And I've heard dancers asking me this so many times. Joana, should I feel? Should I think? If I feel, I lose the music. If I think, I catch the music, but then I'm not soulful. What happens? you know, and I do think it comes down to balance. I do think you need to bring the rational and the irrational together. This is also a very mercurial thing to do, bringing both worlds together into this middle point, okay? So you bring the rational and the irrational, you bring the thought process, where am I going, what am I doing, with feeling together, and it comes with time. It comes with time. There are no miracles, you know, you don't wake up one day able to do that. You just keep working and studying and trying. But it's very important to let go every once in a while, guys, especially if you are improvising by yourself. You don't have any expectation, you don't have an audience, you don't have to be brilliant. So I would highly recommend that every once in a while you go crazy. Don't think at all, just put the music on and give it to me. Give it to me, you know, give it to me. Close your eyes, go crazy, do crazy stuff. Allow your body to unlock what has to be unlocked. Don't control the process, okay? Especially if you're doing it by yourself. There's nothing to lose. What can you lose? What can you lose? You're going to shock what? The flies in the air? I mean, what is the problem, you know? And film yourself doing it and watch and see what's interesting and see what's not interesting. By the way, I used to do this with Mahmoud Reda as well. He would ask me to improvise. This is how I started to choreograph, by the way. I would improvise, he would record me, and then we would go into his office and watch. And he would tell me, okay, what do you want to use from your improvisation and what do we discard? And this is how I started choreographing, by the way. Sandra says, I love it. You're a communicator. Yeah, of course. I'm blah, blah, blah. Gemini girl in the house. Double Gemini in the house. Okay. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. We're almost finishing the session. And I still have a couple of questions here. But I want you to give it to me. Please, give it to me. Tell me what you want to know. And I'll do my best to offer some guidance. Shed some light, okay? Now, what other question? I'm going to read one more. I had a few more here, but there will be no time. I don't want to make these sessions too long. There is one more that I really, really love, okay? And it has to do with not knowing enough. When do you know enough to improvise? Or do you need to be very experienced to improvise, right? Very often, when I'm training beginners, may that be in my private coaching or in general group courses, and I ask students to be creative and to start choreographing, even if it's just something very small, or to improvise, choreographing or improvisation, I receive the same answer. I don't know enough. They tell me, Joana, I don't know enough. I'm still a beginner. How can you ask me to improvise? I'm still a beginner. How can you ask me to choreograph? I'm still a beginner. How can you ask me to feel the music? I'm still a beginner. How can you ask me to be creative? It's always what I hear. And here's something very important, guys, that you gotta know. And this is, it suits improvisation and it suits choreography, and it definitely suits the Baladi Awadi. Then again, the more you know, the more tools you have to work with. It's like a painter. Imagine a painter with a box of paint, right? In this box, some painters have 3 colors, only 3 colors. Another painter or painters have 10 colors, 20 colors, 50 colors. Obviously, the ones who have more colors have more tools to create something. But it doesn't mean they will necessarily do better than the one who only has 3 colors. Okay? I also use this similar metaphor. Imagine you have two cooks in a kitchen, like in a competition. One cook has tomatoes and potatoes. Very poor. Very poor. Only tomatoes and potatoes. And the other one has tomatoes, potatoes, garlic, different kinds of vegetables, tofu, whatever, and they are competing. Surprisingly or not, the one who only has tomatoes and potatoes can create something more interesting than the one who has more ingredients. Because it's not so much about what you have, it's about what you do with what you have. This is one of my mottos, and I will repeat it, baby, because it's so important. It's not so much about what you have. It's about what you do with what you have. How much you can do with what you have. If you only know one movement, how much you can do with one movement. It depends on your creativity. It depends on your resourcefulness. It depends on your confidence in yourself. If you only have 2, 3 movements, you say, Joana, I cannot improvise with 3 movements. It's not enough. Yes, it's enough. Will it be very rich in terms of diversity of vocabulary? Probably not. But it can be interesting, and you gotta start doing it from the beginning. If you wait for the moment when you know everything, when you feel prepared, you feel like an expert, you will never do anything in life. You will never improvise. You will never choreograph. You will never perform. Start with what you have. So to answer this question, do I need to know a lot? Do I need to have a lot of experience to improvise? In a Baladi Awadi or in any other dance style, I will repeat, the more you know, the more tools you have to play with, the more dynamic, the more diversified, the richer your creation can be. But even if you don't know a lot of vocabulary, of dance movements, of dance steps, you can use what you know in a creative, original, heartfelt way, and you will shine. And then when you know more, you add more colors, you add more movements, you add more ingredients. And then you want to know more, you do more, you add even more, and your creativity starts growing and your dance starts taking a body. It starts to build a body and an identity. But it doesn't come overnight. It doesn't come when you feel ready. It doesn't come when you feel you know everything. You will never feel you know everything. I've been in this business for more than 2 decades, working with the best of the best, at the best venues. And I feel I'm just starting. I don't have the feeling I know everything. Whenever I improvise in a performance or whenever I choreograph for my students, which is something I do daily, literally daily, I'm choreographing something for someone or for a course at our school, at Joana Saahirah's online dance school, I always feel I'm starting from scratch. I never feel, oh, I'm so experienced, this is so easy. I don't know if other professional dancers can relate or not. This is how I feel. I never felt that I knew everything or that I didn't have to push myself. It feels like the first time every time. Okay? So use what you have. And do your best with what you have. And then when you have more, you add more. You add more knowledge. You add more experience. But start with what you have. And above all, improvise from your heart. Don't improvise from your ego. I want to be this. I want to look like that. I want to impress them. I want to be fabulous. I want to be applauded. I want to be told I'm the greatest. I want to be a diva. No, that's the ego. Egyptian dance invites you to reconnect with your heart and with your soul. So when you improvise and when you choreograph as well, pay attention where you're coming from. Are you coming from your ego or are you coming from your heart? So reconnecting with your heart, religare, okay? This is the Latin word that gave birth to religion. The word religion means religare. It comes from the Latin religare, to reconnect, to bring something that was separate together. Egyptian dance is religious. It makes you reconnect different parts of yourself. And it invites you to reconnect yourself with your soul. With the soul of the world, with the heart of the world. So improvise from your heart. Don't care if you look like a diva, you don't look like a diva. In the end of the day, nobody will remember you for that. You know, it's all about the heart. This is what makes a difference, even if it doesn't look like. Even if we live in a very materialistic world, even if we live in a world where, you know, people promote themselves as stars and ego, competition, experts, and as far as I know, that's not what Egyptian dance is proposing. Of course, it's just my perspective, guys. It is just my experience of Egyptian dance. It's just my knowledge and my sensibility. And if you disagree, you are totally welcome to do so. But this is what I know. If it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, great. Also, you know. Hi, Joana. Hi. Joana asks, how can we be present every second of the music during improvisation and let ourselves and our bodies choose instantly? Okay, Joana, you're gonna have to watch the live session from the beginning, because I talk about that. I talk about my number one skill for improvisation, especially inside of a Baladi Awadi. Okay, so go back and check it. I would add one more thing. In the case of the Baladi Awadi, feel your womb, feel your gut. And there are many ways to reconnect with your womb and your gut and your hips. There are many ways, okay? As a teacher, every teacher has or should have strategies, a method to bring their students back to that particular part of the body. But if you are doing a Baladi Awadi improvisation, for instance, which is so much coming from the hips and the womb, and going back there in a full circle, I would say that reconnecting with your guts, with your womb, feeling the inner wall of your abdominal muscles, feeling it physically, activating it physically, and then emotionally, energetically, it really helps you to feel grounded, to be in the moment, and to choose what to do instantly, instinctively. And of course, as I already mentioned, and then again, go back and watch it from the beginning, connect with the music and be present in the now. Connect with the music and be present in the now. Okay? It really helps. You are welcome, my darling. You are welcome. Okay, guys, if anyone has a last question around the theme of improvisation, this is it. Tell me about it or silence yourself forever. No, not necessarily forever. You can send me the questions later and I promise to address them somehow. But for now, if you'd like to share your last question about improvisation, feel welcome to do so in the comments. And I promise to answer one more question, just one more, okay? Just one more. All right? If you want to take one, or if you can only take one thing from this live session, take this. Improvise from the heart. I know it's not trendy, guys, but it makes the trick. Improvise from the heart. Use the 3 gates I mentioned before. Listening, feeling, and moving from the heart. Okay? Listening, feeling, and moving from there. Okay? Now, I'm gonna invite you again to check our new online course, How to Dance a Baladi Awadi. Our subscriptions are gonna close at the beginning of July. It's gonna be a 2 intensive month training where I'm gonna give you all about the Baladi Awadi, improvisation, technique, the Bintil ballet culture, the personal development skills you need to have in order to create a mean Baladi Awadi and to grow immensely in your dance and also in your life. Feel welcome to check the link to that new course either in the comments to this video if you watch it on Facebook, or in the description box below the video if you watch this replay on YouTube. Guys, I love you. Thank you for attending. I am gonna connect with you once more on Sunday in the morning, 10 a.m. Sunday, Lisbon local time, London local time. Even I'm gonna write it here. Sunday at 10 a.m. Lisbon, London local time. Next Sunday. What is going to be the theme of the session on Sunday? It's still gonna go around the Baladi Awadi, but it has to do with questions around the theme of sensuality and sexual energy in Egyptian dance. It is a hot one. It's a hot topic. It's a very important topic, and it's something that so many of us are so ashamed of even mentioning. We should not be ashamed. We should bring it to the table in a clear, intelligent, constructive way, and that's what's gonna happen. Okay? Join me on Sunday with all your questions about sensuality. Then again, I have gathered questions about the theme, but I'm open to your feedback right here live with me. I will see you very soon, guys. Thank you for attending. Until then, all my love and my warmest kiss. Okay, guys? By the way, join our newsletter if you like, Joana Saahirah's World newsletter. I'm also gonna share the link below this video, okay? Stay well, guys.